Hello everyone. Right, in this video I'm actually going to go through the exercise that I spoke about in relation to writing a chord and writing arpeggio. It's page 31 for those of you who have your grade 1 music theory workbooks. Okay, and I'm going to start with the exercise that they have given you. If you're not familiar with your keys yet, may I suggest you go back to the video and go over the one that talks about keys and key signatures. Go over those before you come back here. Okay, so I would advise you to do that, and then we can look at this video. Now, the first example they've given you is the key of G major here. It's in the bass clef. Always check the clef first. And then the key signature of G major, which is F sharp. And in the previous video I went through how key signatures, or where key signatures should be written. They need to be written correctly in the right places. So please go over that if you know, you're not too familiar with that yet. And then we have the chord. So in the previous video I went through the chords on the piano. For example, G major has G, B, and D. Okay, you miss a note out each time. So you have the note G, miss out the A, you have B, miss out the note C, and then you have D. 1, 3, and 5. So this is how you write a chord. It's usually on top of each other like this. There's the G, there's the B, and there's the D. G, B, and D. Exactly what I've written here. Okay? And that is the chord. Okay, simple as that. Now look at this one. Is this written the same as that? It's not, is it? Because do you know what? The notes are not on top of each other like this one, is it? So we're using the same G, B, and D, but look what they've done here. They've spaced them all out because the notes are being played singularly. You play them one at a time. You don't play them all together like that. Okay, so you play the G, then you play the B, then you play the D, and then the top G. See, that's a whole octave. Yeah, and then you go backwards using the same notes but going backwards. You go back to the D, which is there, you go back to the B, which is there, and then you end up on the last note, which is the G, which is how you started. Okay, have another look at that. Look at the difference between writing a chord and writing an arpeggio. Okay, so that's the example that they've given you. I'm actually going to do one with you from scratch. So they're asking, okay, let's read the questions carefully. They want you to use semibreves. As you know, semibreve looks like this. Write the following tonic triads. You know tonic means 1 or first. Yeah, tonic is 1. And triad, or the word tri, means 3. We can say chords, it's the same thing. Triad is a chord. Okay. And then this is the important one, using the correct key signature each time. If you don't add that in an exam, because you're going to get similar questions like this in an exam, underline the key words, and especially if they ask you to write a key signature, because if you don't, you lose marks. Or they'll just think, you know, you haven't really bothered to examine the question that was asked. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to write the key signature for F. So remember where the B flat is. Remember the key signature of F is B flat, every green bus, the third line. Okay, I'm going to write it There's a triangular B like that. There's a B flat. Now what do they want? They want the tonic triad in the key of F major. What are the notes in the tonic triad? It's F, A, C. Okay? Now I'm going to write these as a chord. I'm going to start with the top first, actually. Here you go. F, A, C. F, A, C. Okay, so that's a chord done. Now they want you to go and write it as an arpeggio. Now, if you're writing the F and A and the C, those are the only three notes you should be using. You don't use G, B, D, or C, E, G, because they are not the tonic chords in F major. Okay? You have to use the same notes. But you're not writing it like that. You're going to write it in this form. So let me do this for you. Again, you have to have the key signature in there, otherwise it's not F major. Okay, I'm going to write it there again. Bit of a funny one. Now, let's write the notes of that chord. F, A, C, and because they want a 1 octave, an octave is from the low F to the high F. Ooh, have I got enough space? Okay, and that's the F right there. Now I'm going to go all the way back. There, voila. Okay, so look at this and look at this. That's an F, A and C, and I've used the same F, A, C, ended up on the upper octave, which is F, and I'm going backwards. C, A, F. Okay. Now, shall we do the other two? Yeah, why not? Because we have a bass clef here, and quite often I've seen how students get mixed up with the two clefs. Yes. So I'm just going to do this one as an example. I'll go over the lines so that you know what the notes are before you write the chord, because you don't want to write the wrong chord, do you? Right, so bass clef, they want a chord in C major. So what are the notes in C major? It's C, then E, then G. These are the only notes you should be using. C major has no key signature, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's see. So let's go over the spaces. So the spaces for C and bass clef is all cows eat grass. So if we want C, E, and G, that's kind of half of the spaces we've just said. Cows eat grass. C, E, and G. Now we're going to use those notes for the arpeggio, but add in the top octave. So let's go through this. C, E, G, top C, which is middle C, and then we're going to go backwards. G, E, C. See? That's the chord, and that's the arpeggio. Okay? Just want to do the last one for you. And then feel free to run this video as many times as you like. Okay, so this one is the key of G major. We're back to treble clef. Sometimes they do this to catch you out. They can change clefs, you know, just to see if you are paying attention. Okay? Check the clef first before you write the chord, not the other way around. Okay? Right, tonic triad in the key of G major. What do we need first? Key signature. Key signature for G major is, as we know, F sharp. F sharp is always the first sharp on the sharp side. And you notice the F line is running right the way through. How do I know it's F? Let's go through the line, shall we? Every green bus drives fast. That's F. So we're correct so far. Now let's do the chord. Let's write the chord in letters first. G, B, D. Those are the 3 notes in the chord of G major. Okay, now I'm going to write the chords on top of each other like this. I usually start from the top because it's easier for me. I don't like that. I can be very critical of myself sometimes. Here we go. Because all of these notes are on line, so I have to, the reason why I rubbed it out is that I wasn't seeing a clear line going through that bottom note. That's why. Here we go, G, B and D. Now let's write this as an arpeggio. Again, key signature. When you're doing your sharps, prefer to do them straight, 2 long lines going down, 2 short lines going across, making sure the F is running right through, or piercing through, yeah? Now we're using the same chord here, and then just splitting them up. G, B, D, and then the octave G at the top. The top G is actually sitting on top of the 5th line, because the top line is the F, so G is just above it. Okay, let's go backwards. D, B, and then you end on G. Okay? Now have a look at this page so far. Chords written on top of each other. Arpeggios spaced out. Okay? Have a look at that. Just giving you a minute or two. So you know what to do when you come to do this exercise or as part of your revision. Okay, but please check your clef. Check your clef. Okay? Okay, so I will leave you to revise this, and I will see you in the next video. Ta-ta!